Yeah, Mike shooting tonight.
Somebody's got to do it. Yeah. They're not going to let us talk.
What's that?
Item 7, the agenda. Only in the meeting. And you can fill out the forms. No, that's what it says on the thing.
This is a public.
We'll see.
If I can get everybody's attention, I'm not sure if everybody can hear the speakers. We've got Pastor Cameron here, who's church we're in this evening. We'd like to make some statements first. So, again, thank you all for coming to the meeting tonight. We are at the Emmanuel Presbyterian Church. It is Pastor Cameron's home. He's invited us into, so he would like to have a few moments to address the crowd.
Thank you. I do sometimes sleep here, so it is my home. Welcome. I'm so glad you're here. We love to provide a venue for these kind of meetings. We got out our most comfortable chairs. I don't know if there's anything left, but I got the basic 3 food groups back there: cookies, muffins, and cupcakes. I did have coffee on order, but the order didn't get translated to the evening staff, so we're trying to pull out some coffee, but I don't know if there's even room to drink coffee. But anyway, so glad you're here and look forward to the discussion.
And I did want to recognize the counselor from the district, Counselor Pat Davis, who's here this evening.
And I want to say thank you to everybody who's coming out tonight. You know, this is really ART's meeting. This has been a controversial project from the very beginning, right? Since I took office 98 days ago or so. This project was on its way, considered by the City Council last year. The application was sent and approved. And I know there were a lot of public meetings. And quite frankly, as these folks here know, I've shared a lot of criticism publicly with the fact that a lot of people clearly didn't feel like they knew about those or had the opportunity to weigh in the way they'd like to. I think that's, and I'm fair, hold on, Pete. I agree with that. And yet, now that we're here in this place, I appreciate the more than 250 people who came out a few weeks ago to our other meeting at Highland to look at the designs, to offer input. I sat in this room with non-bill merchants and listened to the project team take direct input from some of the merchants and make some plan changes as far as scheduling and impact and what's going to happen right here in this room, face to face with people who've been willing to come forward, express their concerns, share some specific issues, and ask for some help or some understanding. So I know our meeting the ART meeting last night downtown was a little rowdy, and for good reason. People have some anxiety about it. But I hope we can stand here together tonight. I want to hear more from everybody here. What we've seen is there's a vocal group of folks who are opposed to this. And we have a whole group of folks who are organizing in support of it, and a whole bunch of us, myself included, who are somewhere in the middle. We don't know yet exactly how all this is going to work out, and that's why we're having these meetings. And I appreciate all of you for coming here to take a look at, when the barricades come, how the project gets set, what happens in our districts, what happens to our existing transit routes, what happens to the businesses that we care about very much, and have they been accommodated the right way. I think those are the right questions. I appreciate the opportunity to do this. I'm really interested in, some of you know, we had more than 100 questions that were submitted in writing at our last event about this a few weeks ago at the Highland Theater. All those answers are up and available online so that you can read them, you can see what's happening for all the questions we couldn't get to. I like the format that we have here because everybody with an issue and concern can write their question and have it personally answered. We want to be sure that everybody is included in this process because ART is coming, and now we're at a place where we have to figure out to be sure that everybody here gets their input and gets to understand where it's coming.
It hasn't been decided by Congress yet.
So we can talk about that, but here's where the
Don't
process.
act like it's coming, sir.
Let me talk about how. Let me answer the question of where we are, and then we're going to get to questions. But let's be sure that everybody has an opportunity to at least get a chance to start from the same place, right? See the video, understand the project, and then ask our questions if we don't still have some issues, which we're going to have some questions. The City Council last year approved local bond money, right? Before I was here, but that's okay. The City Council last year approved local bond money that went into the federal application along with other federal projects that Mike and other folks could talk about, like repairing Central and San Mateo to make it more pedestrian friendly because it's a really dangerous intersection. some similar intersections downtown. All of those have been wrapped into this project. But the local money was approved by the city council last year, and that paperwork went to the federal government as the city's assurance that we're gonna do our part on our local match. The federal government has said, the president's administration says they think this is worthy, and none of these projects have ever been denied. When the federal government gives us a letter saying we can go ahead and spend that local money, this project can move forward. At some point, that federal grant's gonna come back to the city for us to decide if we wanna accept it. We don't know when that can be. It's gonna take the federal administration, but it doesn't mean that the city does not have to stop doing what they're doing and not get started. The design is that this local money gets spent first and gets started. So this project was approved by the city council, by my perspective here, by some time ago. I want to be sure that everybody who's working in this project, everybody who has concerns, have a chance to weigh in, see what's happening, and help us make this work as best we can. So before we do that, I want to turn this over to those folks. Let them do their presentation so we're all starting from the same page and the same data, and let's see where we go.
Thank you, Councilor. We appreciate you coming tonight. So what we advertise these 5 meetings for is to show how the construction of this project, where it would be and when it would be, and get feedback from those adjacent property owners of how we could accommodate them during construction. I understand from last night's meeting and the volume of people here tonight that some people over the 18 public meetings we've had in the 6,600 one-on-one contacts do not feel like they've been heard or want to have part of this project, or have all the facts and they're comfortable in saying, I just don't like this project. And I've never built a project in the city of Albuquerque that was 100% approved. So we don't take offense to this. We're open to answering every question you have. What I do want to do is respect how this process and this public meeting was advertised and what it's meant for. So I want to get a feel from the crowd tonight in a good manner, in a professional manner, of how we could do this. What we could do tonight is, before we go to the tables and everybody's working on their ideas and their concerns of how the project's going to be right in front of their property, is we could give 10 minutes to some people that are pro and some 10 minutes to some people that are against the project, and just have those voiced tonight. Or we're willing to have an entire meeting dedicated to pros and cons, advertised at a center that can hold 500 people.
About time, when will that happen?
We could do that again. We could do that again after the 18th time that we've already done it, for anybody who didn't get there. And we're more than willing to offer that. But I'm offering that so that tonight we can have a professional atmosphere and let people that are sitting at the tables, who are ready to write down comments, who want their legitimate questions answered, to be able to do so. So I'm open for input, and I don't know how you want to voice your opinion on that, but we could do 10 minutes each tonight if you want, and then get to the tables as originally programmed and advertise the project, or we can do in next week or in the next 2 weeks, we could have a full public meeting again, where everybody's invited, everybody has a seat, they get comfortable, and everybody who wants their 2 minutes to speak will have 2 minutes to speak. So, yes, sir, you raised your hand first.
How long is the meeting scheduled for?
Tonight is from 6 to 7:30.
It's 7:30?
And we didn't get started on time because we had people coming in, so if the pastor's okay with it, I'd like to stay till maybe 8 o'clock. I don't know where you guys are.
Can we do about half the time, half and half?
We'd like to leave some time at the table, so let's see, what time are we at now?
6:20.
6:20, so we've got about a 5-minute video, that gets us to 6:30, so we have 2 hours. We could do you want to do an hour of question and answers and then an hour at the tables?
Yes.
Okay, now, but we didn't anticipate that coming in, so we didn't do sign-up sheets. I don't know how you'd like us to select who's speaking or not. I know at the Nob Hill meeting, we did collect the comment cards, but some people didn't like that because they thought we were hand-selecting which cards were picked. It's up for choice. What would you like?
Table to table.
You want to have one spokesman at every table? Want to do that? Okay, I'll just go, I've handled these before, I can go, I'm good on hands going up in what order they came in, and we'll just call them at random if I like. Okay.
Check it out on the.
Good to see you again.
You said hi, good to see you again. You've said that it's a done deal because the vote's passed and there's no hope of changing this. But what about a voter referendum? If the voters did a petition to
So here's the answer. So a voter referendum technically wouldn't be in place long enough in order to do this. Voters just approved a piece that says no more voter referendums So, but we're asking for public opinion. We're asking for public input. I want to hear it. My office has taken more than 700 individual emails and comments since we've started. I know the ART folks have done that, and this process is there too. And we want you to use, I want you to use these forms and use these questions because we're tallying them all. We're looking at the totality of individual questions and big input. So for folks who don't provide comment or input, it's hard for us to count you. So let's have this process. Let's see how this is going and see what happens.
Ma'am,
Hold on, Maria.
wait, yes, sir, I do speak my mind.
Maria, everyone's gonna have their 2 minutes. Maria, when you raise your hand, you'll be able to talk. You're gonna respect you're gonna respect everyone's opinion in here. Maria, you're gonna respect everyone's opinion in here. Maria, we're gonna listen to everybody equally, okay? So what we'll do for the next hour is we're gonna have, and I think a lot of people are gonna want to speak, so I'm gonna try to hold 2 minutes so that everybody gets an opportunity. If you'd like to have other people talk longer, they certainly can, but remember, we have 1 hour, so that's about 30 speakers.
We don't get to
We
say
have about
anything, it's the same
175
dog
people
and
in
pony
the
show.
building.
Hey, you guys, please, come on, be civil, please. I'm on your side.
I do want to hear from you, and that's why I'm not going to let any one person control the meeting tonight. Everybody in here is going to get an opportunity to talk if they want. But we have 1 hour. So if everybody spoke for 2 minutes, we'd be here to midnight. So if we want to do just 1 hour tonight, let's hold it for 2 minutes. We'll try to get a variety of questions asked and answered. We will still hold, I will direct our transit department to advertise and hold a public meeting. Typically, we go at least 2 weeks out, so we know the notification's far enough out. I think notification is out now. Would everybody agree with that? Can we agree on one thing that most people know about this project now?
For the first time.
I don't agree with that, but at least we know about it now. So maybe we can go to 1 week and we'll have a full public meeting on all pros and cons sometime next week. Does that sound good? So we'll do an hour tonight. And if you don't get heard tonight, everybody will have a chance to talk in a week from now. We can do convention center. That's probably a good idea. Yeah, I know the convention center people. I will talk with them tomorrow and try to get that booked.
We have question forms on every table, so if your question does not get answered, you're welcome to fill that out and we will get back to you.
So we're going to stay on the agenda for the first item. We're just going to show a video that shows where the alignment of the project is. So as the counselor said, everyone knows within the area they live along Central where this will run. And then we're going to open up the questions and everyone will have the microphone. You can walk up here. You can have, and again, I will hold it to 2 minutes just out of respect for everyone's time here. And then we'll do the best either to answer tonight, or if we don't have the answer tonight, we'll write it down and we'll make sure we post it on the website and have it for next week's meeting. All right? So let's watch the video real quick. It's a 5-minute video, and then we'll start looking for hands as they're going up.
We really don't want to watch a video. We can utilize our time to talk about it.
Sir, you're not speaking for the crowd. You're not speaking for the crowd. It's on the agenda to show the video. People have come to this meeting tonight expecting to see that. It's 5 minutes, so we're going to show that.
Thank you.
Go get your answer.
Class action lawsuit.
Show some class.
Albuquerque's historic Central Avenue is the heart of Albuquerque. Art Deco defined the first transformation in the 1940s, but a new art form will define the second transformation. This art is sleek, modern, and clean, and it's going to connect the best of the past with the best of the future. What is this art form? It's Albuquerque Rapid Transit, and it's coming to Central Avenue in the fall of 2017. All strong communities have a stable and reliable public transit system. Central Avenue is still Albuquerque's main street and is quickly becoming the city's innovation corridor. ART brings affordable, modern transportation to the city's most important destinations. Demographics are changing. Studies show baby boomers and millennials have something significant in common. They're driving less and prefer to live in close proximity to the things that matter most to them, like work, school, healthcare, the neighborhood grocer, coffee shop, or gym. Central Avenue is already beginning to experience renewal. With easy access, improved streetscapes, and walkability, art will attract more people that want to live, work, and play along the corridor. Passengers will find art easy to use. Before boarding, use the kiosks at any station to purchase tickets or get them electronically using your smartphone. System maps and real-time vehicle information will make your trip easy to plan. On the west side, starting at the Central and Unser Transit Center, art travels in regular lanes until it reaches the Coors Boulevard station. At Coors Boulevard, 2 dedicated lanes and signal prioritization will make your trip smoother than traveling by car during rush hour. Old Coors Station is next, and then we head to Atrisco Drive. Level boarding and dual sliding doors allow you to enter and exit quickly, and vehicles are designed with comfortable seats and wide aisles. Once on board, power up, connect to the Wi-Fi, and get working, or sit back and relax. It's time to cross the Rio Grande. New York is the next stop. See the aquarium, Bio Park, and zoo. Just past the Rio Grande station and Old Town, ART's 2 dedicated lanes become 1 to accommodate narrower streets in this area. You are now arriving at 15th Street. As we approach downtown, ART mixes with traffic and stations get closer together. Here you can make easy business connections, visit the future home of Innovate ABQ, or take the Rail Runner Express to Santa Fe for the day, or a weekend getaway. Leaving downtown, ART becomes a single dedicated lane. The next station is located at Walter Street. You have now arrived at Cedar Station and Presbyterian Hospital. The next station is University, home of UNM and close to CNM. Planning is already underway to expand ART from University Station to the University Health Sciences Center, CNM, and the Albuquerque Sunport. Our next stop is Cornell, UNM's front door. Now you're entering Nob Hill and the Bryn Mawr Station. Here you will find a unique blend of residences, businesses, restaurants, and entertainment. Bicyclists can store their bikes near the station or bring them on board. Next are stations at Solano, Washington Street, and San Mateo Boulevard. Crosswalks and pavement markings make it safe and easy to access the median stations. Raised platforms allow quick boarding for everyone. Dedicated lanes continue all the way to Louisiana Station, home of the State Fair and Expo, New Mexico. At Louisiana, ART merges into regular traffic, with service going north to ABQ Uptown, major shopping corridors, and the Uptown Transit Center, or east to Tramway. Central Avenue has a lot of untapped economic potential. With ART ridership projected to double in the first year of operation, ART is a smart investment. Modernizing transportation systems is just one of many city initiatives currently underway. Federal funds will pay for 80% of the ART construction costs, bringing $4 in federal funding into the local economy for every $1 of local funding. That's a heck of a deal. The results will be faster travel times, better on-time performance, and improved safety and security. So, get the word out and come aboard. In the fall of 2017, a new ART form will appear on Central Avenue. Albuquerque Rapid Transit, connecting people, creating place, and driving opportunity. Visit brtabq.com for more details.
Just a couple introductions so you know who's going to be responding to your questions tonight. I am Michael Reardon. I'm the Chief Operations Officer for the City of Albuquerque. We have, where's Bruce? Bruce Rosari, Director of Transit Department. We've got Dana. She is the Deputy Director of Transit and also the Project Manager for the project. We have Cynthia Schultz, who is the owner and what other great titles are you, Cynthia? The CEO of Bradbury Stam, the local contractor that will be doing the construction of the project. Joni Griffith, who is a local Nob Hill business owner and doing the public relations for the project. Paula Dodge Kwan is in our construction services and municipal development area, so she's overseeing the design and construction and utility coordination for us. Gary Opendal is the Director of Economic Development. and then David Leard, who is the project manager from HDR Engineering. So those are the people that will be responding to your questions if we can tonight. With that, I'm scared to ask if your hand's going up, but and please do, if you have a question, I would like you to have use of the microphone so everyone can hear you. So once we have one or two people up here, once one person goes up, just come up, maybe we'll do that. So I did see a hand in the back, sir, but let me get a question first. With someone, do you want to come up and speak, or would you like me to repeat the question? In the back.
I can speak it out, I think.
Okay.
I'm curious what's going to happen, because I haven't heard anything yet about the 66 route. It can't run in the rapid lanes, as I understand things.
So the question is, what will happen to the local 66 bus, and can it work in the rapid lanes, or is it don't have a system? Bruce, you want to handle that one?
The 66 will continue to operate on Central. What we're doing as part of our operation plan is take a look at the bus stop spacing in relationship to where the ART stations are, intersections, items like that. And we'll be going through and either removing or relocating some of those 66 bus stops. So it's easier for the buses to get to a stop and causes less conflict with any vehicles on the road, but also provides a connection if you're not near an ART station. You can get on the 66, travel to an ART station, then get on the ART vehicle at that station and continue on your trip if that makes your trip a little more efficient.
Thanks, Bruce. I think there was another question right here in the hat, sir. Yes. Do you want to use the microphone?
I don't think I need it.
Okay.
You can hear me.
If you can't, I'll be glad to stand up, okay? I'd like to ask, of the people that live in this neighborhood, how many of you, through a show of your hands, was one of the 6,600 people that was talked to face? Again, the question is, if you live in this neighborhood, were you ever asked about this? Raise your hand. Not really very many. I don't believe that. How many people are in here?
That's how many weren't.
Ask how many people the whole place.
That's how many weren't.
Next, I'd like to ask, what consideration has been given to coal and lead, the traffic that will go from Central to those two streets?
Here's a question I'm going to have David Leard, who did the traffic analysis as part of the federal process for the project, answer that question.
So we looked at lead, coal, and Lomas to see if they had available capacity, and they do, and we determined through the traffic model process that we would have 300 to 400 cars in the peak hour, so the peak 60 minutes of travel, 300 to 400 cars would be diverted off of Central onto lead, coal, or Lomas. So there's plenty of capacity on those roads.
There is not. We don't have enough capacity.
You drive that street? You don't even drive that street, obviously.
I think I saw the hands in order, so this lady right here, and then you, and then yes, ma'am.
Stand up. Thank you, thank you.
I'll repeat the questions too.
Okay, I live on the corner of Amherst and Lead. My house gets hit at least 3 times a year, people traveling too fast down that road and careening into my house. The traffic is not, it can't take that much anymore.
It can't take what it has now.
They're going fast. Already they're going 40 miles an hour and they're on each other's tail. It's insane.
On lead?
Lead
Yes.
and coal. And it's downhill. They start racing. In the summer, pickup trucks start racing. They go top, they get to Carlisle. As soon as that light turns green, they rev down the street, racing down that road.
It wasn't too long ago where lead and coal were 3 lanes in each direction.
Yeah,
Two
we
lanes
know.
now, it's worse.
Now we've gone down to 2 lanes.
And it's worse.
The signals are expected to be timed for 35 miles an hour. And if that...
30 miles.
I'm sorry, 30 miles an hour.
Know what you're talking about, please.
5 miles an hour, sir. Do you really want to go there? Let's keep a little level of respect mutual back here, okay? If we could, sir? But, so I just want to say, so if you ever see that timing not working, those go out of adjustment.
If you leave here and go to the corner of Amherst and Lead, you can see where 2 cars wrecked and wound up in my front yard. one ran the stop sign and the other one was going 55 miles an hour on that street.
Okay, I think we need to stick to the drivers. Some of the drivers in our town, it's three different things. It's engineering, it's enforcement, and it's driving mentality. And the driving mentality for some of the people, this project will not hurt or help that. Sir, and then sir here, and then I'll go to the back of the room.
Yes, sir. To the gentleman who plans the streets, do you realize that Lomas ends on Central, and the one-way ends on Central as well? So I don't know where you're getting your planning from. Secondly, I own 2 businesses on Central, and I also live on Central, and I was never contacted by any of you guys to be part of this decision over here. I think that you guys are putting the horse before the wagon. Do you know that you probably need to clean Central first before you bring a transit in? Get rid of the prostitutes and the drunks, the thieves, the empty fields full of beer bottles. Every other building is for lease because of the economy. So I think that's what you guys should have put your attention to.
I appreciate the question. Yes, sir, but you know that Lomas we do realize where Lomas and Lead and Coal come back into Central. What we're talking about, those trips are within this district that he was talking about. So within this area, which when I come to Nobbville now, I do not use Central. I come out to the side.
So you also realize, are you telling us that this is a done deal already?
I'm sorry?
Is this a done deal already? Are you guys, this has already been approved and is ready to be taken out to construction? Is that what I hear?
The design has been approved, the local funding has been approved, and the federal funding has been approved through the president's budget.
So we're gonna have a say-so on this?
No. You still, like for instance, last night we got a question from the visually impaired community about how am I gonna access the local stops? There are still things that we can do to continue to enhance the design. You can have a voice, and that's what the purpose of this meeting is, and what we're gonna get to in the second phase of it is, while it's getting constructed in front of your business, is there a time that we can't be there because it's a heavy time for you? Is there a time that's better for you? Is there ways that we can help promote your business? Is there ways through economic development that we can give you resources to expand your business so that when after construction's done, it's better than it is today?
Yes. Your pamphlet says that you guys are gonna be improving the economy and bringing more revenues. You know what's gonna happen when you guys are done with this project? You're gonna put me out of business. And everybody down Central, this is how you guys help us. Thank you.
And then the gentleman in the hat, and then Mr. Miller, and then you, sir.
I'm going to tell you, no, can you hear me? Can my neighbor hear me? I see some of my neighbors here. I'm a resident of Nob Hill, and I'm adjacent to Hermosa and Lead. And my question is, I'm going to have to read it because I'm very nervous. And I'll let you know right now, I'm opposed. I'm opposed to this thing. But my question is I want to know where the operating funds will be coming from after all the capital money has been spent. There are repairs on Lead that have not been taken care of for over 3 months, my councilman. I have the photos here. If you can't keep up with the maintenance on Lead and Coal, how are you planning on keeping up the maintenance on this size of a project? Because in support of the traffic issues, those light pedestals get knocked over constantly. I mean, we have one that's been knocked over 4 times on Hermosa, still hasn't been repaired. And the police will come periodically and do, when they want to make their quota, they come to Carlisle East, and I give them water in the heat of the summer, and they can do 19 to 30 tickets in a matter of a couple hours. But my issue is, they promised us with the restriping and the reconstruction of Lead and Coal that they would slow down traffic.
Did not.
And it does not. And I am done with it. And if you're going to impose us more, then maybe I'm not a Nob Hill resident anymore.
Wow. You can sell your house.
I understand your comments, but is there a question in
the question
What's
is,
the question?
I want to know where the operating funds will be coming from after you've spent all the capital money and you're leaving us with the project that you can't even maintain on Lead and Coal. I don't know how you're going to pay for a $100 million capital project once the graffiti hits, once the bus stops are vandalized, once all the repairs have to be done, because you can't pay for it now on Lead and Coal's project.
And one, if you could on your form, write down the areas of concern on Lead and Coal that you're not getting addressed.
Yeah, and I have a photo.
But let me.
You want me to count all the graffiti?
Please do. We clean graffiti within 24 hours.
No, you don't.
Yes, we do.
No, you don't. I have a 311 regular. They have my
We have meetings next week, and I hope you come there. I want everybody in the meeting to download the 311 app.
I have the 311
Okay, take a picture of that graffiti, and if it's not done within 24 hours, not done within 48 hours, I'll buy you a breakfast burrito. Just this lady.
Get on it.
We're addressing that right now, ma'am.
So we're looking at operating costs.
The mic's not working.
Okay, operating costs, I don't know if it's on or not. So we're looking at additional security for the buses to check for tickets and so forth, and just maintain some semblance of decorum on the buses. We'll also be looking at, we've got crews that will be identified to go up and down the corridor to clean the stations twice a day, and maintaining the landscaping. We had to, as part of the FTA process, we had to ensure that we were less than 5% increase in the budget for operating, and we were able to go to $1.9 million in an increase, and that's less than 4%.
What does that mean?
Higher taxes.
What that means is we're going to be asking for this line. It's not just building it. For this line, it's not. It's not for this line, it's going to cost the general fund budget an additional $1.9 million per year, and what the taxpayer gets for that is 12 additional security officers.
Yes.
To roll on the transit and to be at the stops, and a crew that's dedicated specifically to the 20 stops on ART alone to ensure that they are clean, graffiti-free, and free of mischievous activity.
What about from 9 to 5 in the morning? When they're not running and the security people are not on the buses?
Why not just give us more police? You haven't that?
All right, the gentleman in the black hat, and then Pete.
My name is Bruce Squire, and I'm a recently retired CPA of 42 years, and I did a lot of government auditing and stuff. I've been a Nob Hill resident for a long, long time, grew up in Albuquerque, and I love this stretch, and I live near here. I'm concerned because when I see buses stop now, there's just a few people getting on and off. And to block off 2 lanes, one going each way on Central, is going to decrease the automobile traffic. It's also going to decrease property values of people who own homes, people who own businesses. And they're going to decrease, I think, the amount of businesses that are going on right here in Nob Hill. And I'm very much against this, and I think the mayor is not thinking, and the city council is not thinking of what effect that's going to have on this neighborhood that we grew up in, and we live here because we love it.
I've got 2 questions that are related. I was born and raised in this city, and I love this area. My family owns a commercial business on Central, and I'd like to know exactly what is the city going to do to mitigate the damage to the ongoing businesses, and will that include loans? If so, that's somewhat insulting. Or will it include grants? And the second related question is, isn't it true that the Albuquerque City Council could enact and introduce a resolution calling for a moratorium on this project and withdrawing the request for funding?
To answer your first question, Pete, I'll have Gary Operdahl come up from Economic Development on the business side of it, and then I can talk about the construction side about what we're going to try to do to mitigate. And that's, again, is the big purpose of this meeting, the second hour, what we'll get to. And then, I'm sorry, the second question?
Was
Is it a true
referendum.
Council, I think you're gonna. Well, let me rephrase it. Is it true the Albuquerque City Council could introduce a resolution
We got that.
calling for
We'll get the
withdrawal
counselor, we'll get the counselor to answer
Well, let
that.
me finish. Calling for withdrawal of the application and requesting the returning of the money.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it, Davis.
Respect, sir, please.
So, as far, I'm a business owner myself, I get it. If there's gonna be disruption in front, that's a big deal. What we're doing is we're having people go door to door to listen to those business owners as to what they could do to help retain customers during the project.
Is that our responsibility?
And to grow customers and get new customers downtown. So we're gonna have things like pop-up art, pop-up drive-in movies, pop-up things going on, cash mobs before.
There's no time.
And we have a small business resource collaborative. Did you want me to be done? We have a small business resource collaborative that's made up of community members that are going to help as much as they can mitigate that. There are some loans and forgivable loans that we are working on right now to be able to do for those
We even had to
businesses.
go through that? No, we didn't.
And Kelly Mumbai is in the back, and she is working with business owners now.
So please sign up to go to the SBRC and help with those things.
Councilor, did you want to answer the second part?
Sure, I can answer that really quickly, Pete. I know you and I talked about this last night a little bit. That's absolutely true. It's possible for the city council to do anything like that we wanted and try to make that statement. But I'll tell you that coming into this, we have to remember that this package and this program passed unanimously by the city council last year. So there are 8 of those same councilors who voted for this project still on the city council. I'm the only new guy. It will take 6 votes to override this project, because it would have to override the mayor's veto to stop it. And I'll tell you, there aren't 6 votes.
So you guys decide our future?
So
You decide what you're supposed to do, not us?
hold on, let me finish, okay? There aren't, right now, I don't feel like, I'm pretty confident, in fact, that there are not 6 votes to reverse what they did just 6 months ago. Instead, what some of us have tried to do, particularly the councilors like Councilor Benton, Councilor Pena, Councilor Sanchez, and I, have tried to use our office to sort of fill in the gaps and do the best we can to try to make up for what we see are places where there needs to be more improvement, more design work. That was the part of the project for Edo last night that you came down for and got to hear about people talking and weighing in. That's what we want to hear about today. The meeting a couple of weeks ago was to let people know what the final designs were. The meeting tonight is about how construction will go. And we're going to continue to have this process until we get to that place. But if we had to do it today, I think that resolution would fail. So we should continue to try to make this process as good as it can be till we get there.
Thank you for that answer, and I want everyone to know that there's a poll being conducted by the Albuquerque Free Press that's very detailed, and I would encourage everybody to go online, type it in, and give your response as to whether you support this or you oppose it.
Let me add, let me just add, there's another voice in this too, right? The mayor represents all of us. If- Now, when am I ever said that? Look, hold on, no. Let's answer this. If you don't, I'm here to tell you, if you don't think that my office has personally sat down with more than 40 folks to have individual conversations to connect them with ART staff or training staff or design staff or Bradbury Stan folks or others. But if you don't feel that my office is doing a good enough job, remember this project is ultimately run by upstairs by the 11th floor. Everything you tell us should be told to them as well, and include them in the conversation. Encourage, and they are here, his administration's here, encourage the mayor to come out and hear directly from you, like those of us on the city council. Why isn't he here? Wait a minute, let me finish. We're taking your questions because I'm serious about trying to hit the reset button on how we're communicating about this. This is not easy to stand up here and do this. I know that there's more people opposed than there are support, although there are some supporters. I want to see more of our city councilors here. You should express your concerns to the mayor as well, because we currently don't have the ability to do anything different than what's being done. And so we have to make this process as good as it can be.
You're supposed to be working for us.
Okay, let's go through this lady in the middle, and then you, sir, and you, ma'am, and then we got one on the left side. So, right here in the
Do you
middle.
mean me?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Would you like the microphone?
Does it work? Please
please bear with me. I'm not good at public speaking. But my name's Michelle. I live near the intersection of Central and San Mateo. I work in the Nob Hill area near Central and Monroe. I'm a millennial. I'm 32 years old. No other millennials have spoken up so far, so I felt like I needed to. I've also worked in Japan for over 2 years in a relatively small town, so I've dealt with public transportation in the best country in the world to have public transportation. And I've also lived in Eugene, Oregon when I went to school up there, and they're a very bike-friendly, pedestrian-friendly city. So I'm basically the target demographic. And I think this is a very bad idea. For 3 reasons. For one, your target demographic barely exists in Albuquerque. We have very few people, and most people, especially people my age, we all have cars. And secondly, it's going to kill business in Nob Hill. It's going to be so difficult just to get to and from work for me is going to be difficult.
Yes.
And I see the FedEx truck every day when I go to work. I have no idea how they're going to make deliveries to the businesses on Central when it's down to 1 lane. I don't know how people are going to parallel park on Central if it's down to 1 lane. But most importantly, this doesn't seem very safe at all. What am I supposed to do if there's please, I'm sorry. What if I'm supposed to do if there's an ambulance or a cop behind me and I've got 1 lane? I can't pull over for them. Can you imagine an ambulance waiting 5 cars back for someone to parallel park? And it's not.
No. She's still not finished.
I'm not finished.
She's not finished.
Let her finish.
Okay, it's still, that's not the only reason it's not safe. This is actually, and living in a country and in a city where public transportation is used very often, I know this is going to speed up traffic on Central. And it's going to cause more accidents involving both vehicles and pedestrians. I actually like walking down Nob Hill because I feel safer there than I do in other parts of the city because of the way the roads are built. It's very pedestrian friendly. It needs to be fixed. We definitely need to fix the sidewalks. I think things need to be made more handicap accessible. I would love to see bike racks put up on. I would ride my bike to and from work every day if we had bike racks and maybe a bike lane. I don't know if a bike lane is even feasible, but if we're willing to look into this, I should hope we're willing to look into a bike lane. So, yeah, I just think there are better ways to spend this money. We can improve the public transportation system we already have. We can make more stops and more frequent pickup times, but this just seems like a huge waste of money and it's not going to benefit the area.
Me? Okay. Oh. Yes, my name is Bill Dalzell. I'm a baby boomer, but even though I have a car, I prefer to use the buses here because, you know, it's just not all that safe to drive with all the reckless drivers. Now, I'm undecided right now about how I feel about the ART, and that's why I've come here to help myself make up my mind, but I do have a strong bias in favor of public transit, even though I have a car which I seldom use because it's just, you know, I work over at C&M and my question is, when you start working on if you do start working on the ART, are they going to detour, are they going to shut down bus service on Central Avenue? If so, where would we go to get an alternative bus, you know, so that I don't have to use my car to get to work?
What we're challenging our contractor to come up with, we're going to keep at least 1 lane open in both directions at all times during the project. We have heard from some Nob Hill business owners that just say, don't do anything to us until January 2nd and then shut down for a month and a half, get it all done and then move on. So that's what the purpose of these meetings are, is how we're going to construct that. But bus service will continue and we'll have a minimum of 1 lane open each direction. Any more details, Central, would you like to add to that?
I do want to make the comment. I mean, the city, from the start with this project, has been trying to consider how to minimize the impact of the community. So you hear 18 months. Well, that doesn't mean we're in sections for 18 months. It doesn't mean Central's blocked somewhere for 18 months. We've been working towards keeping 1 lane in each direction open and sidewalk open. Okay, so you can still get across the street. You may be able to get on both sides, et cetera, and working through that. So each area is not going to be as dramatically impacted. I mean, traffic is going to have to slow down where we have work going on, but it's all in 2,000-foot approximately sections where it makes a lot of sense to break. And again, that's kind of the point of some of these meetings. We're trying to figure out the best schedule we can. Doesn't mean we can, do things just for one business, et cetera. We're trying to take areas where there's a lot of those, try to get it out of peak seasons, et cetera. UNM, trying to do a lot of that work during the summer, et cetera. We're trying to work through all of those things and try to control the impact. But that's been the hallmark of this. And I think that's really significant because it really will have less impact than if we were shutting down the street, taking out whole blocks, et cetera, trying to keep it as open as possible.
I believe we have Representative Stapleton in office. Ma'am, would you like to come up and use the microphone or address the crowd? Okay. Okay. Well, thank you for being here tonight.
I have a couple of questions, and the first one is, all the funds for this operation have to come from the city, correct? Because you all would never have to come to the state for any capital on this project, correct?
The state is no go on it.
Okay, good. So that means we won't see any capital outlay requests. Okay. The next one is, I own a business on Central across from UNM, and I heard the young lady said 18 months. What is the plan for business people? And I guess you said in the summertime it would be around UNM, so you're going to do it in sections, starting on the west side. Approximately how much time do you all plan to spend in each section? And do you intend not to go over your 18 months for the entire way?
Good luck with that.
Great question. Everything's always over budget. We want to come into 5 segments. And the contractor right now, at a minimum, what we want to do is propose something and then get feedback. And that's what the purpose of these meetings are. So on our boards, we have segment 1 and 5, which we're starting with. In there, we've broken the project down into reaches. We're calling them about 2,000 to 2,500 foot sections. So you can say what reach you're in, and we've got a general time frame when we think we can be there. We want to hear feedback. And from UNM, for instance, don't be, when we're in school, be there during the summer. Nob Hill, don't be there during Nob Hill Summerfest. Don't be there during holiday shopping season. Be there at other times. So that's the type of feedback we're getting in. And then within that, we're going to talk with every business at least 60 days out and say, this is the day we're going to be in front of your shop, or this is the day we're going to be in front of your residence. And from that, any 2-block segment, we don't want to be there in that 2-block segment for any more than 60 days. And we're not going to be 60 days within the 2-block segment. And we don't want to be in the whole project for longer than 18 months. Those are the 2 things that we're dedicated to meeting. This lady has had a number of times to have her hand up, and then back there, sir.
Thank you. My name is Diana Tapia, and I'm a resident of Nob Hill. I've lived there since the early 90s, and it's understandable.
Louder.
I can repeat the question, or you can come up, whatever you like.
Great.
Hopefully you have better luck with that than I've had.
Hi, I'm Diana Tapia. I live in Nob Hill. I've been there since the early 90s. I've lived there since the early 90s, and I recognize that it goes against human nature to have change put in people's laps. We instinctively don't like change of any kind. However, this is clearly not a popular project, and I don't know where the idea came from. Who gave birth to this idea, and how was it spawned? And who benefits? Who benefits the most from this project? Clearly, most of the people in here think we don't benefit at all. And this was like, who benefits, who gave birth to it, who provided the impetus, period.
Thank you very much for your question. 2002 was the first idea of this. That was when City Council passed a resolution dedicating Central Avenue to being the mass transit spine of the city of Albuquerque. There's been different iterations of that throughout the years, and then 2011 was the next highlighted time frame for the project when a feasibility study was done to see if light rail, not light rail, streetcar, not streetcar, or a bus rapid transit system was the right scale for Central Avenue in our city. That feasibility study came back and said that BRT is the right level for our city. Then independent people have gone out and analyzed it and told us that the economic benefit of this project is going to be close to $2.9 billion.
Economic Development. Not me, anybody, that's not me, that's the Center for Neighborhood Technology. You're welcome to go on their website and look at it. That was an independent source coming in and studying the system for us. The Institute of Transportation Development Policy did the same thing. They go around the world, not even just our countries, researching BRT systems and grading them out, independent of whether a city's doing it or not. We have the first opportunity to be a gold standard BRT system in the country. So it's not us saying this, man. It's
People who
regional,
are
national
from New
experts.
Mexico, companies that are not from here.
And our contractor is from here.
One.
The contractor for the project is here.
Bradbury stands, they're benefiting, nobody else is benefiting.
Every employee.
Really, it's true, because there's no millennials, lost population.
Well, answer the question, who benefits?
There's no jobs.
Listen to each other.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna benefit, and you're not gonna agree. Who do you think benefits? And you're gonna say no.
Gary benefits because he'll get like Tingley Beach, like Chavez said. He'll have his little name tag somewhere.
There's no legacy here, sir. There's a good light transit project. Back in the blue shirt.
So I have a few comments and a couple of questions. One is just about the procedure. I understand people's temptation to want to interrupt and give their thoughts on the, off the top. But it's really not productive because I can't hear what you're saying most of the time, and I can't hear what the folks up there are saying. So it's just, I think if you can just wait, they're trying to get everybody a chance. So let's try to be respectful. The second thing is, I want to thank you guys for being up here tonight. And going to 5 different meetings and trying to get our input. I have some questions about the design and some concerns and as far as the notification, I'll just give you my little bit of feedback, which is that I heard about it months and months ago, probably 6 months ago or so. But I think that was largely because I'm connected with some planning and design people at the city, and so I don't know if I would have heard about it otherwise. And I think a simple a sign up on the road on where the impacted area is going to be to at least give people a chance to be aware of it. And then you might not be able to get a lot of feedback at the early stages, I understand, because you need to kind of come up with a proposal first and get the studies done and all that. So, but just as far as notification, that might be a better approach. The design questions I have are, one, as I understand it, there are some stops at the intersections and some next to the intersections. So, for example, at Washington and Central, to me that makes a lot of sense to allow, both auto, bike, and bus traffic, all three of those to continue through the intersections in both directions. I know of at least one case where I think the stop is planned that in a location where the block cross flow traffic across Central. So I want to ask, why is that? What's the advantage? I think everybody can probably see a disadvantage to that. So in order to do that, there must be an advantage, and I'd like to understand that. The second one is what I've heard, and this was months ago, so maybe it's changed, is that the DOT did not give approval to allow the buses, the ART buses, to continue underneath the I-25 underpass. And so it seems a little bit problematic that, or maybe a lot problematic that buses would then have to merge into auto traffic and then back into the center lane. So what's your, maybe one of the designers can talk about the solution and how that's going to be accommodated.
Did everybody hear the questions? No. Two questions. One, why are the stops where they are? Some of them are inside the intersection and some of them are just past the intersections. And the second one is, what is the design idea where it goes underneath I-25 and Central? So I'm going to have David Lear, who's the design project engineer from HDR, answer those two questions.
So for the first question about the station locations, why are some at signalized intersections, why are some at what we call mid-block locations? So one of our kind of hallmarks for this project was to try to maintain as much on-street parking as we could to minimize the impact of on-street parking. So at like Washington, for example, there's very little on-street parking right around the signal there, so we were able to fit the station in with the extra width that we needed for the station in the middle, the 14 feet in lanes, without impacting parking, and it made sense there. Whereas at Bryn Mawr, for example, originally the station was at Richmond, where there's a signalized intersection. Well, if you have to add the 14 feet we need for the station there, all the parking on either side for about 300 feet in each direction would be eliminated. By moving the station to a mid-block location, we're able to minimize the impact and also at that location provide pedestrian signals to cross. So there and at Solano, so we have effectively tried to create a more pedestrian-friendly environment while also minimizing the impact to the on-street parking. So that's kind of where the station, we went through that process up and down the corridor. The question about going underneath I-25, we do for that section, because the way that I-25 was designed currently and the volume of traffic that goes through there, we decided to leave I-25 as is. There's double lefts in each direction through there, trying to move the double lefts out of the way. We would not be able to, that would not work from a traffic perspective. So we're going to use the signals at that location and a few others and operate kind of like a train would. The bus will get a signal to jump ahead of the traffic, be able to get into the travel lane and then get back into the dedicated lane.
Okay, we've had a lot of hands up. We've had a couple of hands up for a long time, I should say. So I want to wrap up those questions, and then we're going to transition into the second part of our meeting. Again, we're doing that. That was what we said at the beginning of the meeting, in order to get some questions answered, and then we'll still have a full public meeting for all comment. That's just going to be all comments sometime next week, all right, at the convention center, hopefully. I think that was a good solution. So we said that when we started, that we were going to transition to that at some point. The hands that I've seen up the longest are this gentleman, the lady in the glasses right here, and then I can't see the person, but I can see a hand that's been up a lot in the back. So we're going to get to those. Okay, I'm sorry. So let's do those 4 questions for tonight. Again, we've got 3 more of these meetings next week, right? And then we'll have a dedicated public involvement only, yes or no, why only, next week sometime or earlier than the week after that, okay? So why don't those, I don't know if 4 people come. I think this gentleman's here, and then, man, did you want to use the microphone, or are you going to say it from there? Okay. All right, and then the hand right there, sir, and then the right side.
Just do it. Just do it.
Ask your question.
Oh, are you asking me?
Yes. You're up.
You're up. Wait, am I up?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
He's talking.
Okay. I'm new to Albuquerque. I'm from Portland. Okay. Thank you.
Welcome.
I own an apartment building here, and the reason why I'm here is because I like this project. Now, I know that's not, I understand that that's not a popular thing, and I've been a planner and a landscape architect in these people's positions. It's not an easy thing to do, to face an angry crowd that only sees the negative part of this project. I see both sides of it, and I think that Albuquerque is looking at a windfall here of $79 million from small starts.
You're not from here, sir, so you
I
don't.
no, Let me finish, and then we'll let you talk. But let me finish, okay? I am from here. I own property here. And I don't want this to be antagonistic, because I think that what we're talking about is not if this project happens, but what it will be. And I don't think anybody in this room, I look around, I don't see anybody that wants to turn down $79 million for Albuquerque.
Look around!
So if I said to you, would you turn down $79 million, sir? Would you?
No. Before that gets out of control, it's
It's
69.
Before that gets disputed. Well, if somebody would, let me just, okay. So I think it's just a matter of what this thing is. And I think that, yes, everybody has a right to drive a car, but mass transit is good for the city. And I think it is. And, yeah, if you have a car, by all means, speed around, go up and down Central Avenue at 50 miles an hour, great. But.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Last three.
All right, thank you.
Actually, did you have a question or some comments?
No, I just sort of wanted to intervene because I think that there is a project here, and I think it's just a matter of what is supported. And I would hope that Albuquerque would get behind mass transit.
All due respect to the last three speakers here, their arms have been up for a long time, so yes.
Really, getting sore here. I live on Lead and Carlisle, and most of Lead and Carlisle and Nob Hill, and a good part of Lead and Carlisle are residential streets. So what you're planning to do is increase traffic greatly on 2 residential streets, Lead and Carlisle. Some people will be going to Lomas, but if you want to be close to Central and easy access to Central, you're going to go on Lead and you're going to go on Coal. In the summer, when I'm in my backyard, Lead is a drag strip. I have friends over, we have a barbecue, at night we've got motorcycles dragging, we've got police cars, sirens going so they can go through the red lights. It's so noisy as it is. So now in these residential streets, you're treating them as though they are industrial streets, but they're residential streets, and now we're going to have lots of traffic.
Like the people don't exist.
Now for my question, which is separate from that, which is, when I and other people say we are opposed to it, they say we are not for progress. And my question is, what is progressive about spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on fossil fuel buses?
It's a great question. On the buses, we are out for in an RFP right now, but we are allowing both regular diesel buses and electric buses to bid on the contract. So the technology is there for the bus in a 60-foot model. We did ride one that came into town 2 months ago now. And it met all the criteria where it can go up the hill of the west side. It had the long staying power, so there is a viable option of an electric bus that will be able to bid on the bus contract for this project. Gentleman in the back, and then the red sweater.
Minutes that I didn't use all of before. It's a comment for you and Councilor Davis. The problem with speeding is not just limited like the one lady was saying a minute ago, or the second or third lady at the table that you called on the first lady. The problem is citywide, because there is no enforcement anymore. Ever since Barry became mayor, and the excuse is we don't have enough police officers, there is no police presence in this area. Everybody puts the pedal down and goes as fast as they can go, depending on how much congestion of traffic there is. They aim at pedestrians, they try to run you over. They change lanes to do it. I voiced that issue to the police department.
That's true.
Deaf ears. And I expressed the same thought now as I did 2 years ago. The mistake is not necessarily the transit in itself, it's putting it in the middle. It may work in Portland and other cities, but we can't cross the street intersections safely because they will not yield to pedestrians, which is the law. That's why I said 2 years ago, if we're going to do it, it shouldn't be in the middle like Portland and the great cities of success that way. It should be on the side. But you guys don't want to eliminate the parking for the businesses. But we're going to eliminate one of the traffic lanes.
Thank you.
I
Thank you very much. Sir, we have to respond to his question first, sir, please. So the police question doesn't really have to do with transit, sir, but I will talk about the stations and locations of those. And I'm going to have Dana Crawford come up and talk about her efforts walking with the soles of her shoes gone up and down Central and why that is the way it is.
So we did canvass 3 times up and down the corridor, and we did have 18 public meetings. Actually, tonight makes 20. We did reach out via email, radio, newspapers, door hangers over since May of 2012. Sorry, get to the point. I'm sorry. So up in Nob Hill, for example, why is the bus in the center, and why are we taking out the median? We did bring the ideas to the community. We had a meeting over here at the Monte Vista Church where we looked at, would you like wider sidewalks or would you like to keep the median? And the vote was there, we would like to have wider sidewalks, so therefore we put the median, we take the median out and we put the buses down the center. It was just it was a neighborhood vote, the neighborhood associations were there, as were the Merchants Association.
Thank you. Ma'am in the red sweater.
Yes, I'm reading two questions that came across my email this afternoon right before I came over here. The first question is actually to Bradbury and Stam. It's the belief that it is, let's see, it's a no cost control measures, that the email is saying that it's a cost plus contract with unknown performance bond parameters that can go past the amount of money that the original contract was for. So wanted an explanation of how how that contract works. That's the first question. And the second question, and I couldn't quite see, so I don't know if this is true, that there are no bus stops, no art stops between San Mateo and Louisiana. I couldn't tell. And if that's true, why? So one is about Bradbury and Stam, and the other is about the stops.
All right, let's start with Cynthia. You talk about your contact if you want, or I can talk about your contact. Go ahead.
Okay. All right, our contract is a construction management at risk contract, and it is at risk. So what? Sorry. All right. Can you kind of hear me now? Okay. Her question was that there's an understanding that we have a cost plus contract and we can just spend as much money as we want and not worry about it. That's not true. It's a construction management at risk contract, which means what's happened is we've been brought on now a little bit earlier before the plans are completely done, kind of work with the team, try to figure out the schedule, etc. And then we have to guarantee a price. And everything has to be approved by all these folks over here and cost controlled throughout the entire project. We also, another question I've gotten a lot is, are you held to the schedule? Of course we're held to the schedule. Okay, and we have to guarantee that and try to work to constrain as much as possible, as well as to kind of keep the budget, again, under control, because it all kind of plays together. And so that's our task, to maintain quality, production, get the job done, and safety.
So, and I just want to add one thing, that by having a guaranteed maximum price, by the time you actually go to construction, the taxpayer knows exactly what the project's going to cost, unless we want to add more scope. But there'd be no change orders in there based on unknown conditions, because you have a guaranteed maximum price from the contractor. So that's the safety net that the taxpayer has. That's why it's called construction manager at risk. They're giving you a guaranteed maximum price, and they actually have some of the risk of if anything goes wrong during the construction, that's on them to fix and make sure it works right. Unless, of course, we say we want to add another piece of sidewalk somewhere. If we add scope, then obviously that's negotiated. And I'm sorry, your second question?
The second question was about looking at the map. There aren't any stops between.
So are there any stops, David, maybe you're the right person, are there any stops of the arc between San Mateo and Louisiana?
There are no stops between San Mateo and Louisiana.
Why?
Wait a minute, now you want more art? You want more art?
When we went through the planning process, we used about 14 different criteria to evaluate station locations and identified the ones that we have now, adjusted them slightly, as I talked about earlier, to minimize impact, but that was how Louisiana was stronger.
There you go.
Hey, respect.
That is
You're in a church and you're swearing? That's respect?
No, she didn't say a cuss word.
You have a different criteria than I do.
BS, Michael.
All right, I appreciate we still have some hands up. We did say we were going to transition to the second part of the meeting. You're more than welcome to write your question down or be at the tables as part of the group discussions. And then we are going to have, I'm committed to, at the end of next week, after the three more of these are done, or the beginning of the next week, we will have a full public forum for just comments and questions only. Open at the Convention Center. Maria, you're going to come up.
What's the
Move this
website?
out of the way. All right, everybody want Maria to wrap it up? let's have our host talk first.
You'll handle those questions. You handle them? Thank you.
All right. If anybody's leaving, thank you for coming tonight. We still do have table discussions. We value your input. This is where you can write your questions down.
No, you would have done it before now.
Sir, we're here tonight, and all we've done is been respectful and
You
listened.
did not ask for our input.
I'm still asking for your input. Please stay at the table and write down anything you want.
You're going to make our neighborhood in coal and lead unlivable. You don't care.
How many in this room are against the project?
Hey!
Shut it down.
Right next to the rowdy group.
Yeah, good.
Oh, I'm sorry. Am I correct that it only takes 23,000 signatures to recall the mayor?
Go ahead and give me your opinion, Bob.
Oh, I think this is a terrible plan. It needs to be shut down.
It's a
It's a waste of money, and it's going to destroy the neighborhoods and the communities that are on lead and coal. The whole people are going to leave the area because it's bad enough now, the traffic, and now they're going to increase more traffic on lead and coal. It's already unbearable to live there. I live on the corner of Cole and Richmond, and it's just going to get worse. We're going to see people leaving in droves once this thing starts, and the traffic increases over there. These planners think that those streets are underutilized, and that we need to put more traffic on them. Hell, they're overused now. People can't live there.
Did they give you enough warning? Was your input ever asked for?
No one has ever come to our house or asked us our opinion about this at all. The only thing we know is what we've read in the newspapers. And they talk about going out and talking maybe to some of the business people. But as far as I know, nobody in the communities has been approached on this. And I know a lot of people who are opposed to it.
So, what is the recourse for your neighborhood and for your as a resident of the city and as a resident of the area? What's your recourse?
Well, it looks like politically there's no recourse. The political establishment is going ahead with this, but I think individually we'll see people moving out of the communities all along the parallel of this corridor, because the traffic is just going to be unbearable in those communities. And so what we're going to have is devastated zones next to this big bus route down the middle of Central. So I don't know. I hope maybe they could. It's too late to probably do a recall, but maybe we could shut it down somehow.
Well, I've heard some people mention that Lomas would be a better place for this.
It probably would if they would direct traffic over to that. The street is wide enough and built for that kind of thing, not Central. Central should be left in its character as it is now, and there could be light rail or some other system put in there. But to see, the big thing on this is by putting those bus lanes down the middle of Central, it's going to shift all that traffic that's bottlenecked over there over to lead and coal. And those streets are already overused and terrible destruction of the neighborhoods. So it's just going to, they don't care about the neighborhoods. This is just looks like a contractor's boondoggle to me.
Do you think they answered the question well enough about who benefits?
No, I don't think they answer that. Maybe in the short run, the contractors, but there's going to be no real job increases or economic development come out of something like this. It's just going to make it worse. And we can see who the losers are going to be. There may be a few winners in the immediate construction industry, but I think the politicians are going to lose out of it too, big, because people are going to just react to all of them. People like now would like to do a recall of the mayor and all the council people. But this area, I don't know enough other people in the city would support it. But this area along the route
definitely there's opposition to it. It's just a bad idea. I say shut it down now. Let's spend that money on something else.
There was a mention about, having a I don't know about a referendum, but what was it called? When if they put it to city council and see if they can override it, reverse it. What are the chances of that?
I don't know. It should be brought up to city council. I think some people are planning on going next Monday night and bringing this up, but it would take the other councilors going along with it. Maybe we can convince them. I think it's worth a try. And I think people should
split on party lines.
Probably. But here we've got the Democrat Davis voting with the mayor on it, so I don't. There's something going on behind the scenes on this that's not quite out in the open, I think. Excuse me.
Okay, well, I'll be interested to see what happens next time.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Take it home and frame it.
I'll take it home and win.
That got shut down. Look at the better thing right there. Better map. What it has is there are actually fewer buses.
The restaurant, what is that? Not Monte Vista, Montezuma. Oh, what is that? Matanza, sorry. You have Matanza. I'm so sorry. Will you find Matanza anywhere else? No. Will you find Scalo anywhere else? No. So it's you can find the local joints in Nob Hill. You have all these Blue Moon Marketplace. You have all these small little gems that are beautiful.
What's the relationship of this system with those?
So because you're slowing down traffic and you're promoting people to park and ride, basically, you promote walking and foot traffic. And when you have foot traffic, you're more likely to go into these stores and see what's in there, therefore promoting retail and promoting the economy. And for us as millennials, I love knowing I can go from University to Nob Hill and walk. I used to do it all the time. I was in a sorority. I was an undergrad here. I was born and raised on Central,
But what problem is this project solving?
Again, it's increasing the retail value
and
the walking traffic and the urbanization that the new generation is looking for. The green, the urban, the way of life.
So it's not solving a problem.
It's solving. Currently, there is a little problem. It's projecting a better future and solving the problem that there's not enough foot traffic in Nob Hill. It's all in uptown Albuquerque. So when you slow down the traffic, you promote people to want to walk Central rather than drive Central. Because a lot of people will drive and be like, oh, let's look for parking. And let's be real, Nob Hill is really difficult to find parking. Yes, we hope that there's a parking garage that comes soon, but that's not happening from what we understand. Instead, the government, the federal government, is offering us the beautiful ART project. That, hey, why not? Let's think about it in a different way. Let's promote an urban way. Let's promote a new thing that New Mexico has never seen. I totally agree. I was born and raised here, lived here 30 years of my life. But sometimes we have to adapt to change, just a little bit. I'm not saying be 100% for it, but see the positives. Because there's not that many people that will tell you that, hey, we don't want good, fresh, clean landscape. We're getting the landscape. So if we're getting the landscape, we might have to accept this little ART project. You know what I mean? So it just makes our neighborhood more lush and friendly, and I'm hoping it'll push out everything.
With what she says.
Absolutely.
Okay, and you
And not
agree.
only that, I'll tell you what other problem it's solving. The buses are all need to be replaced. Okay. They're at the end of their lifespan. 500,000 miles on the buses. They need to buy new buses.
You know, but
so wait a
listen.
minute. So well, here's the thing. This is what I don't understand. It's just a better bus system.
Yeah.
But you know, when I've ridden the buses on Central, you know the people that ride the buses?
Well, but here's the other thing. Here's the other thing.
And that's something that
something.
kicks that out, because it's proven that it increases double. It doubles the amount of traffic. Like, I have never taken a bus. I mean, I've taken a bus, but I've not wanted to stay on the bus because I have the same sentiments as you. It's
Well,
ghetto.
I didn't say
I'm sorry, I'm being honest and blunt. It's ghetto. So now that I know there's something new, fresh, and urban, again, back to this concept, I will park and go on the train and go on the bus. And, you know, I did that for
Where are you going to park?
I'm going to park wherever there's extra parking, and there's always going to be parking on Central. The parking spots that's already there are going to be there. I will park in Upper Central or on a side street so that I can make it to Central, you know? And now that they're going to be doing the second half, if they do, which is the University Lomas section, I'm all about that. You know, I went to undergrad and I did, my major was biochem, so I was always in North Campus. Knowing there's a train or a bus system, rather than having my sorority sister drop me off and pick me up, it's great convenience.
Question. This is a side. Why no stops from San Mateo to Louisiana?
Good question. I don't know.
Why is that good?
You know, I would assume
Getting off there.
Pardon?
I think maybe there aren't that many people using those areas. It's kind of urban.
That whole block is already taken by the flea market and state fair. So you only have the south end of Central, which is businesses, and there's about quite a few that are kind of shut down, and there's nothing really going on. I'm sure in the future they will make space to have stops there, but again, we got to start somewhere to start growing so that the rest of Central can start growing.
You don't want to go too many stops because then the bus will go a lot slower. You know, like you don't want to have too many because it's supposed to be a rapid transit.
Is it going to go?
Tramway.
It goes all the way to Tramway.
Yeah, it goes from Coors to Tramway.
But the special lane, they're running regular traffic above Louisiana. Is it Louisiana? It's Louisiana. The buses are running regular traffic above Louisiana. They're not building that far up.
Oh.
The buses will just run like regular, but there will be, they'll be spaced out.
And you know the great
but
thing
they're
is, I
running
think
regular
at that
traffic.
Louisiana intersection, Central Louisiana, they're starting to branch to go uptown, so it gives you the option to, hey, if you don't find something local in Nob Hill, you can go to uptown where there's franchises, or vice versa, you know?
One thing, uptown is a place that has shops where things are above the ability to pay for many people.
Correct. And that is the whole point. Last meeting on February 10th, we had a meeting with all the merchants, and they had explained that we're worried that once this art project happens, the people who buy the businesses along Nob Hill when the art has dropped property value, once it's done, they'll increase the property value, therefore increasing leads, therefore it'll be passed on to the customer, right? So what they're trying to do, and what we discussed about, is to have a property freeze. We talked about it with Gary, with the city of Albuquerque. So he's in the process of working it out.
When you say we, who's we?
So we, as in the Nob Hill merchants.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we discussed that.
You're speaking as a Nob Hill
Nob Hill merchant, yes. And you know, they discussed that they would put a property freeze and maybe gradually increase it, so it's not pinned onto the consumer, it's not pinned onto the leasee, you know, and the leaser. So this is a great aspect. You know, they've thought about a lot of things. So that's another thing that Nob Hill is focusing on: local. We don't want to make sure something that's $40 goes to $70. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's the particular from being Nob Hill versus being uptown. You know, that helps differentiate.
Well, even Nob Hill is too expensive for many
You know what?
people.
You're right.
And
And
I'm
the reason-
speaking as a teacher of children whose families don't have much.
Right. And you know what? I did pediatrics. Like, I absolutely understand. And I worked in low socioeconomic statuses. And, you know, there's a certain thing where once the community gets together and unites and sees the problem and can address the problem, then maybe we could stop from these things happening. You know, if more people think
Wait,
that
which
last
problem?
meeting, which is the future problem of maybe things will get expensive, or maybe things are expensive now. And that all has to do with Nob Hill is the prime property value of Albuquerque right now, because it's Center City. The art, that's why art is picking up on